December 1941. A German soldier on the Eastern Front reaches for his canteen. It's frozen solid, a useless block of ice. He hasn't had water in 8 hours. His lips are cracked. His throat burns. The temperature is minus 35 degrees Celsius. Around him, thousands of men face the same choice. They can wait and risk dehydration, confusion, and death, or they can eat the snow beneath their boots. This seems like the obvious answer, but this simple act could kill them. World War II's winter battles are legendary. Stalingrad, the Bulge, the Siege of Leningrad. We remember the tanks, the guns, the strategies. But there was another enemy on these battlefields, one that didn't discriminate between German, Russian, or American. Thirst. In sub-zero temperatures, metal canteens became ice blocks within hours. Rivers turned to stone. Water trucks couldn't navigate through chest-deep snow to reach frontline positions. And soldiers? They needed water more than ever. Carrying 60-pound packs through snow, fighting, digging trenches in frozen earth. The human body was burning through water at an alarming rate. Under normal conditions, you need about 3 liters per day. In combat conditions, in the cold, while exerting yourself to exhaustion, double that. Without water, your blood thickens, your brain struggles, your muscles seize. Within days, you're combat ineffective. Within a week, you could be dead. So when supply lines failed, and they failed constantly, soldiers looked down at the endless white expanse surrounding them and made a decision that seemed obvious. Snow is just frozen water, right? Just eat it. Problem solved. Wrong. Here's what actually happens when you eat snow. That frozen mass hits your mouth at minus 20 degrees or colder. Your body immediately begins working to warm it up. It's stealing heat from your core, the heat keeping your vital organs alive. For every handful of snow you eat, your body temperature drops. And in conditions where soldiers were already hypothermic, already shivering uncontrollably, already losing feeling in their extremities, this was catastrophic. But it gets worse. Melting snow requires energy. Your body burns precious calories just to turn that snow into usable water. Calories that soldiers didn't have. They were already starving, already running on fumes. A soldier eating snow was essentially choosing between thirst and starvation. Field medics across every army began noticing a pattern. Soldiers who ate large amounts of snow developed hypothermia faster than those who remained thirsty. Men were dying not from enemy fire, but from trying to stay alive. The order went out. Stop eating snow. Melt it first. But orders and reality are two different things. Here's the reality of winter warfare. You're in a foxhole. The enemy is 300 meters away. You can't light a fire. The smoke gives away your position. You have no fuel, no heat source, and you haven't had water in 12 hours. What do you do? This was the impossible calculation thousands of soldiers made every single day. Dehydration impairs your judgment within hours. Your hands shake, your aim suffers. You can't think clearly. You make mistakes. And mistakes in combat mean death, yours and your squad's. So they ate the snow. Because dying slowly from hypothermia tomorrow seemed better than dying quickly from a bullet today. But the clever ones, the survivors, they found ways to cheat the system. They packed snow into their canteens and stuffed them under their coats, using body heat to slowly melt it over hours. They filled their helmets with snow and placed them near engine blocks of tanks and trucks. They learned to add small amounts of snow to already melted water, gradually bringing the temperature down without the shock. The Finns, who turned winter warfare into an art form, taught their soldiers to identify the safest snow, fresh powder from elevated areas, never yellow or discolored, never near disturbed ground. The Soviets, fighting on home territory, sometimes had access to heated bunkers where snow could be melted en masse. But the Germans, advancing deep into Russia as winter closed in and supply lines shattered, they had no such luxuries. By the time the Eastern Front's first winter ended, more German soldiers had been evacuated for cold weather injuries than combat wounds. Many had made the fatal mistake of eating too much snow too quickly. But even if you avoided hypothermia, even if you melted the snow properly, there was another threat lurking beneath that white surface. Battlefields aren't clean. Every artillery shell that exploded threw contaminated soil into the air. That soil settled on the snow, chemical residues from explosives, residue from gas attacks, and worse. In some areas, the snow was contaminated with human waste, with decay, with disease. The pristine white blanket covering the battlefield was a lie. Medical records from both sides tell the story. Dysentery, cholera, typhus, mysterious gastrointestinal illnesses that swept through units, weakening them as effectively as any enemy attack. But commanders faced an impossible choice. Should they forbid snow consumption entirely and watch their men become dehydrated and combat ineffective? Or accept that some would get sick, betting that most would survive long enough to keep fighting? They chose the latter. Because in total war, you gamble with lives. Let's talk numbers. During the Battle of Stalingrad alone, more Soviet soldiers were evacuated for frostbite and cold weather injuries than were killed in combat. The German Sixth Army, surrounded in the frozen city, saw thousands of men die not from bullets, but from the cold and everything that came with it. Across all winter campaigns in World War II, conservative estimates suggest over 1 million soldiers from all sides died from cold-related causes. Not combat, cold. Hypothermia, frostbite, and the cascading failures that came from trying to survive in conditions humans weren't meant to endure. One German soldier wrote in his diary, "We don't fear the Russians as much as we fear the cold. You can hide from bullets. You cannot hide from winter." Another Russian soldier, "I ate snow every day for 3 months. I knew it was killing me slowly, but slowly was better than quickly." When spring finally came, when the snow melted and armies could move again, survivors had learned brutal lessons about the true costs of winter warfare. Today, military doctrine has evolved. Modern soldiers carry insulated hydration systems that prevent freezing. They have chemical heat packs designed specifically for melting snow safely. Cold weather survival training includes extensive instruction on managing hydration in sub-zero conditions. But during World War II, soldiers had only their wits, their desperation, and impossible choices. The men who ate snow during that war weren't foolish. They were calculating odds in a game where every choice led to suffering. Hypothermia or dehydration, sickness or thirst. Survival today or survival tomorrow. They chose to eat the snow because the alternative was unthinkable. And thousands of them paid the price, not in one dramatic moment, but in the slow, grinding attrition of winter warfare. When we remember the great battles of World War II, we should remember this. Sometimes the greatest acts of courage weren't charging into gunfire. Sometimes they were simply surviving another frozen day. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.